Welcome. Today we are talking about food insecurity. This half-hour show was made possible by a grant through the Charitable Summit Foundation. Food insecurity is a pressing issue that affects millions across the United States, including communities like Summit, New Jersey. It goes beyond the absence of food. It encompasses anxiety and uncertainty about where the next meal will come from. This pervasive problem impacts physical health, mental well-being, educational outcomes, and economic stability. In Summit, organizations such as Grace, SHIP, and Summit Achieve Community Garden are at the forefront of combating food insecurity. In today's interview, we will explore how these three extraordinary organizations are making a tangible difference in the lives of Summit residents and what steps we can all take to support the fight against food insecurity. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. This is, you are three powerhouses in three organizations, and you've done extraordinary work in Summit. I would like to take the time to have each of you introduce yourselves and tell us about the mission and work that your organizations do. So, Chris, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, first of all, for having us here today and an opportunity to speak with your audience a little bit about the work that we do. So, my name is Chris Cotter, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees of Summit Helping Its People, better known as SHIP. And it's an organization that was formed in 1990 with the mission of helping to feed those who are either homeless, at risk for homelessness, or food insecure in Summit. And we do that 7 days a week with breakfasts and a to-go lunch out of the kitchen at Calvary Church. And it's done almost entirely with volunteers. We have 2 part-time program managers that assist us during the week and on the weekends.
Deb?
My name is Deb Grazer, and I'm here representing the Summit Achieve Community Garden. I run the program for the community garden, and which is managed also by the Summit Area Y and Overlook Hospital. So this garden came into place in 2013. And it was built to support the residents in Summit who are not able to have gardens at their homes. So they're able to have a garden where they can grow fresh vegetables. We also have an education component in the garden as well to promote healthy eating as well.
Amanda?
I'm Amanda Block. I'm the founder and director of Grace, which stands for Giving and Receiving Assistance for Our Community's Essentials. It's built on the idea that any need that exists in our community, in Summit, the generous resources of our community can fulfill. And so that does involve the fulfilling the needs for today and the long-range empowerment and skill building for tomorrow. So health awareness, financial empowerment, benefits assistance, career guidance, educational support, all happens at Grace. But we're mostly known for our fresh food pantry, which has been around. It will be 9 years this August, 52 weeks a year. We've yet to miss a week, and hopefully we never will, with the idea that the food that will nourish our families, the food that they are looking for to feed themselves and their loved ones, that they can find at Grace, that gift of certainty that is part of the pillars of food security we can enhance right here in community.
So I'm really excited to jump in this conversation with all three of you. And Amanda, you and I, we met during COVID because during COVID there was so many people in need, and we did a show. And so welcome back. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Yes, and I want to talk about how we define food insecurity. So let me read you the statistic. According to a USDA report in 2021, 33.8 million Americans did not have adequate access to food. And spending on USDA food nutrition assistance programs were up $182.5 billion. And in 2022, USDA also reported that annual food prices climbed by 11.4%. Food inflation, it really hurts us all, but it really affects those, who are a lower income family. I can't even imagine, right? So talk to me about what does food insecurity look like? And in a town and a community like Summit, how do we help address food insecurity with families who want to stay discreet?
So food insecurity really takes the unique face of each of the individuals who come to Grace every week. We're currently serving about 700 families every week. And with each family, there's a different story. But some of the stories we've encountered lately include the child who can't concentrate on a Monday morning because there's not enough food at home on the weekend, or the patient at Overlook who can't afford the nutrition they need during cancer treatment, or the mother who never has fresh fruit because she can only afford enough to give to her children, or the senior who subsists on canned goods because that's what their budget can cover. But at Grace, we know that we have enough resources in our community to make that different and to offer people what it is they seek that will truly be nutrient dense and cover their needs.
I have a real affinity for nutrient dense foods and whole foods, getting away from processed foods. So Deb, talk to us about Summit Achieve Community Garden.
Yes.
And what passion that brings for you, because you're dealing with young children in education.
Yes, we are. So part of the program that we have at the garden is plots that we've allotted for food pantries in town. And we have brought our children into the garden to experience and educate them on the whole process from the seed all the way to harvesting, so they can experience how that goes. And we've obtained some grants from Union County to expand those programs to our centers, our branches itself. So last year we obtained a grant for our Berkeley Heights branch and secured 2 raised beds where the preschool children will be growing fruits and vegetables during the full year. This year we obtained a grant for the Learning Circle, which is right across from the Distribution Center for Grace. So they'll be starting to grow tomatoes and peppers and things like that, lettuces, and part of that grant is that they have to donate a portion to a food pantry in town. So they'll be able to walk across the street in the summertime and actually see the whole process from beginning to the end and see the people that will be receiving it as well.
There's something about growing your own food and the children being able to grow their own food
Yes.
and get their hands in it. And just, when you have a plate of broccoli when you're a kid, you're like, I don't want that broccoli. But if they grow it themselves and then
Yes.
they eat it, they get it onto their plate, it's like they're excited to eat
They-
the things that they've grown.
Yeah, they are.
Right.
They are. Like you can see in the garden, we have a lot of families, and the kids will be walking around just like picking the cherry tomatoes like it's candy.
And it brings families together. You talked about Grace and the garden. So tell me about that connection.
So I came into this program 5 years ago, but I know it started way before then. We allot a certain amount of plots in the garden that are dedicated to 2 food pantries in Summit. One is through Loaves and Fishes at St. Teresa's, and the other is through Grace. So when I came in, I saw that there was a need all year round. I didn't realize that Grace actually was a food distribution center all year round. And so what we do now is we're able to plant things, they call it succession planting, so we're always having something that we're able to donate to Grace.
Got it. I want to bring you in, Chris. What are the primary factors that lend to the individuals that you serve? What are some of the primary factors of food insecurity for them?
Sure. So I think they're not so different from what you heard from Amanda and Deb. These are people who are making a choice, And that choice sometimes is whether or not they'll be able to pay the rent or whether or not they'll be able to pay for groceries. And usually the last thing that they'll ever let go is the roof over their head, if they can help it. And so we see some number of people who are homeless, but most are housed, but they're hanging on. So it's a way to help prevent homelessness by allowing them to come and get a warm meal in the morning and a to-go lunch. And I think the challenge within Summit, and the reason I think this program is so important, is that oftentimes our residents will view Summit as a privileged community that it's very difficult to conceive that there could be those who would be food insecure. But as we've heard, there are, and they are among us. So we're very fortunate that there's a number of organizations, SHIP is one, and we're kind of hands-on, but you've heard from two others here that they make a big difference. And they, by their actions, they really keep so many more people housed within the community. Mm-hmm. But we see a variety. We see all sorts of folks that they may visit us for a period of time, maybe a month or two, and then they don't for a period of time. Their circumstances have changed, oftentimes for the better, not always for the better. And then sometimes they'll come back, but they know it's a place that they can come for a meal.
That's excellent. You know, you struck a chord with me because my initial question, what is homeless or what does food insecurity look like? It looks like our neighbors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It looks like the children that our children go to school with. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what strikes me. So I was on the board of, you guys might not know it, it's Soup Kitchen 411 many years ago with Kenda Roberts. Yeah. And it was almost a conversation before anybody really was talking about food insecurity. What strikes me is that it's only growing. It's only growing. It's not getting better. We're doing a lot of work. And the problem is continuing to happen.
Yeah.
What are the trends? Why are we not solving this problem? That's a tough question. That's the $1 million question. But
oh my goodness. So first of all, I think there's more awareness that there is desirable help available. Our healthcare providers are now screening for food insecurity and providing referrals. And we're definitely seeing increase in demand because of those care referrals. One of the reasons why we launched Grace and our food distribution is because of the medical outcome disparity that Overlook noticed. We knew about the food insecurities in the schools, but in talking to Overlook, understanding that there was an actual disparity in the treatments that they were giving. And so from that, we're getting some increased new registration that way. But also what we're hearing is overall cost of living, rent eats first, as Chris mentioned. And so what we're seeing is as people have either overall monthly expenses increasing, or if they have a temporary hardship, the roof needs to be replaced, there's a car repair, or their child gets into cello camp. These are all stories that we have at Grace that have led to people saying, we don't have enough money for groceries this month. How are we going to handle this? And people can economize about $165 a week by coming to Grace.
wow, you hit the nail on the head. Inflation, and also housing. I mean, that's a big one with the rents being inflated as much as they are. It's very complicated. So who are your partners? And we could have a whole hour just on partnerships.
Sure.
But why don't I start with you, Chris, and I'm going to go around. Who are your partners that help you with SHIP?
Sure. So we certainly partner with Amanda and her group at Grace, with Bridges here in town, another group that works with those who are housing insecure, and provide a lot of additional resources and support. Mentioned Overlook Medical Center. So Overlook Medical Center is very much a partner. There's a community health advisory committee that is part of Overlook's mission is community health. And part of what that group has done is help fund the work that SHIP performs. So, and some other groups, certainly, but they believe directly in making a difference at the street level in the community. Ultimately, will help in terms of the health outcomes for the community. So, in a small way, we're helping to do that part with Overlook Medical Center. So we really benefit from the Other Fellow First Foundation as a partner for us, and they certainly step up and help with all of the congregations in the community. The Interfaith Council works closely with SHIP, both on referrals and in terms of funding, and also as a volunteer base for the community. And we have a number of other groups in town, vendors that provide pizzeria that provides pizza for us, some King Supermarket, any number. So we really benefit from the ability to take advantage of what might be surplus for some restaurants or other agencies, but it's certainly perfectly good food, and we use that as part of our meals as well.
Your discussion about Overlook being a partner,
Yeah.
to me that hits home on that this is truly a health issue. Right?
It is,
It's a healthcare
absolutely.
issue.
Yeah.
If you don't have good food, you're not going to be able to operate and function in any capacity.
Yeah.
So the restaurants, there are some states that have actually passed laws, so they're kind of incorporating it into policy that restaurants and grocery stores have to give their extra produce. So if it's still viable produce rather than letting it rot, they actually have to give it away to homes. So some of food insecurity is not just about not having; it's also the logistics of connecting it.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Amanda, will you talk about your partnerships?
We have so many partnerships. I'll focus my answer on the food partnerships, because otherwise we'll be here for a little while. We have over 90 partners that relating to food, when we can start hyper local across the street from us with the Community Achieve Garden to have the food in growing season arrive. And it's always the desirable things. It's the string beans, it's the herbs, it's the leafy greens that come. Also on the local level, the Arboretum has a few plots that they've started.
I did not know that.
Yes, that's a recent initiative through their education department. And then we receive all of the surplus from the Summit Farmers Market at the gift table. Give It Fresh Today, which is what gave us our start nearly 9 years ago. That was how we got our fresh produce to begin with. And then we also receive thousands of pounds of produce through the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, both through their generosity, and I understand the generosity of the Summit Foundation, and then through USDA allocations. Yes, and then I must mention all of our bread is our donations from local bakeries, from Natal's, from Bake Bakery, from Live Breads, from Manhattan Bagel, and from Summit Bagel. And so every single week, it is truly a community-led initiative to make sure that all of the categories of grocery, if you shop the perimeter of the store, if you're really thinking about nutrition, it is truly provided as locally as possible.
Yeah.
Well, and at the rec center, in the Summit Rec Center, you provide other services too, the vaccinations, healthcare, consulting, women's care. And if you could touch a little bit on that, because I think it's also important that you're providing other services and products that help bring down the money that they have to spend on those so that they also can focus on food and living. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So the idea behind Grace is always, how can our neighbors live their best lives as self-sufficiently as possible, but in community? And so when people are in crisis, they're thinking immediate needs. But as the dust begins to settle, we have partners available as soon as people arrive to work with them on helping them with their health goals. Summit Health Cares does a monthly screening. The family medicine office of Overlook also visits, and they're going to be opening a clinic this summer at the community center that will operate in tandem with our food distribution. Overlook Dental is also available. We work with the Partnership for Maternal and Child Health. For every family who registers to receive diapers, they also get visiting nurse service for their children from birth to age 3. Mental health checkups for all members of the family, and milestone screenings. And then we also think about the empowerment aspects of the families. Do they want to learn English? We have ESL classes, and we're going to be launching a deeper initiative with the Connection in town, where starting in September, 18 individuals will have 2 sessions paid for by a generous donor at Grace, and the classes will take place at Grace. Financial literacy, career development, even just knowing what jobs are available, benefits assistance, legal help. All of this is available just by coming to Grace. So when people come to Grace, they register with us. We understand, where do you live? Who is a part of your family? Where do you go for help? But also, what are your goals? What are your needs? How can we partner with you? And then from that, we make sure that the partners and the programs available at distribution are a direct reflection of that.
That's amazing. You know, back to my question when I said, how do you solve this? That's how you solve this.
Yeah.
It starts with good food, good nutrition, so that people can function. And then by providing all these services, I feel like you're creating a whole generation of freedom, building wealth from your health, right? Like that's what the key things that I'm hearing. That keeps me hopeful. You guys are making me really hopeful. But the question is what keeps you hopeful in this space? You know, being on the board at SHIP and seeing what you see on a daily basis. What makes you hopeful?
Well, I think the volunteers, the willingness of the community to give back, a sense from the community that this is a shared issue, not unique to Summit, but like many issues, it affects Summit. And so the community is willing to step up, to lend a hand to the least among us, and that keeps me hopeful. I believe that the work that is being done collectively from groups like led by these 2 ladies here ultimately will make a big difference in this. Some of it's structural and it's beyond Summit, but locally we can have a very positive impact, and I believe we are. And it's thankful really to the support of the community and the really good work of people like these 2 ladies here.
Yeah. Deb, what makes you hopeful?
Well, as you said, the volunteers absolutely make me hopeful, just to see our gardeners reach out to other gardeners. For example, we did have our opening workday, and the woman that lived across the street came over and asked about the garden. And so I had told her that we had a plot available, that we also offer financial assistance if it's not affordable to her, that we could help her out. And as she shared her story, she had told us that her mom was going through chemo. And so it was a great place for her to bring her mom during the treatment, where she could have some peace. And if you go into that garden, it just takes all your cares and worries away when you're sitting in there. So when you see people come together and help each other out, and that makes me hopeful when I see those things.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Yeah. Amanda, what keeps you hopeful?
Oh, every week we experience so much hope at Grace. We have more than 40 volunteers who every single week dedicate their time. They do the heavy lifting. They are present. They give of themselves. And we have a saying at Grace that when you give someone what they need, truly, they don't need it after a while. and we have a 25% graduation rate. And so we hear stories all the time of, you were here for me when I didn't know what I was going to do next, but now I have a career in my field, or now I have the benefits that I need, that everything is stable. Or, we hear also of stories of, I thought I was all alone in my experience, and I get to go to Grace, and I get to see that I have a community, and I have friends, and I'm worthy of a life that feels good.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I'm worthy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because that's all people want to feel in this life. I mean, love and worthiness.
Yeah.
And it starts with food from the belly. What is the saying about a way to a man or woman's heart?
Yes,
Through their
right.
stomach.
Through the stomach. So, yeah, that's extraordinary. Thank you. We're winding down our time. We could definitely talk another hour, but what I would really like people to know is what is one thing that, if there's nothing else that people walk away with today, what is one thing you want people to know about food insecurity or your organization or any experience that you've had?
Well, I would say the one thing is that we're there. So if there's any help that's needed, we're there.
Okay, wonderful.
I would just like people to know that we're here as a resource as well. If anybody wants to start a little garden in their own home, it's amazing how much you can grow out of a little pot that can supply so much for you. So we do offer. Last year we started a mentoring home gardening mentoring program. So gardeners, experienced gardeners, would go to some identified families that wanted to start their own garden at home, and they help them do that. So,
All right. I did that at my other house, so
Yeah.
it's fun. The kids love it.
yeah,
So,
and the kids love it too.
Amanda.
So many things I want to say. Chief among them, if you think that you struggle with food security, if you're skipping meals, or if you're lacking the nutrition that you need, come to Grace. See if it's for you. You probably will come back, but if not, just come check us out. If you're looking for friends, if you're looking for community, if you're looking for meaning, also come to Grace. We'd love to have you. I can literally count on one hand the number of people who over our nearly 9 years have come and never come back. We have a way of bringing a community together and connecting people who would never know each other and are now each other's people. And we need more of that. I think we as a community need each other, and it's a great way to make a wider circle and make a healthier community.
I can't thank the three of you enough. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Okay. And I want to thank you, our audience, for spending time watching today. Remember that collective action can drive significant change. Addressing food insecurity is not just about alleviating hunger, it's about fostering a community where everyone has an opportunity to thrive. Through community-driven initiatives, SHIP, Grace, and the Summit Achieve Community Garden provide essential support to those in need, ensuring that individuals and families have access to nutritious food and other vital resources. Please check out their websites and social media listed on the screen below, and thank you again for joining us today. For 45 years, HTTV has provided important community news and local shows so residents stay connected to their community. I think community is definitely the word of the day. So for more programming like this, follow HTTV on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and we'll see you around the community. Thank you.